Patient will naturally come to the practitioner. Then the Buddha, the mind, and the sentient being will become one. Achieving ultimate fruition of great patient, the practitioner will attain Buddhahood. The great patient is part of mind of enlightenment of the Buddha and Bodhisattva. Is far beyond the competence of the ordinary sentient being like ourselves. After attaining an ultimate fruition, patient of sentient being, patient in Dharma, and great patient in the joy of paramita, patient attain the ultimate Buddhahood.
For a long period of 34 years, more than half of my life, I have been devoted my efforts to practicing of Buddhism, keeping my mind and body peaceful and happy, working diligently and wholeheartedly. This is not at all easy for me. I rely strongly and continuously upon my patience of the years, enduring from trivial difficulties to overwhelming hardship, being patient with little children and old women, with manual labor and mental labor. Patience and patience is my motto. Thanks to it, I'm still in the Dharma, and I have the honor of participating in the 11th Sakya International Conference on Buddhist Women. Have this great chance to contribute my little achievement together with venerable nuns and Buddhist women from all over the world. The value of the virtue of patience. Patience is the best way to stop crime right at the beginning, destroying all bad karmic causes before they become worse than our actions. As disciples of the Buddha, we need to practice patience diligently. Whenever we are falsely accused or encounter any misfortune, the virtue of patience will arise naturally. If we practice patience, we remove obstacles, clear up misunderstandings, and resolve difficulties.
If we practice patience, we remove the obstacle and clear up the misunderstanding and resolve any difficulties. Our mind remains serene, peaceful, and joyful, and undisturbed by sorrow and resentment, so we do not act impulsively. Patience has a great value, not only for creating and comfort in our mind, which help us make good decisions and live in true Dharma, but also benefit to other people. If we practice patience, it will transform everyone around the world. Conclusion. On the path of attaining supreme enlightenment, patience is the most important virtue Dharma practitioner. To practice patience, we need to decrease our self-interest until it's totally destroyed. Self is a great obstacle to progress on the path, since we constantly protect ourselves by fears and deluded reaction. Thus, in the Theravada canon, Buddha taught Rahula to be patient like the earth, would never react with things when things are poured upon it. No matter how dirty the thing poured on it and whatever people do to it, the earth accepts everything. The Buddha used the profound smile to remind us to practice virtue, patience, to assiduously to attain the highest goal.
The Buddha was an illuminating paragon who displayed the virtue of patience to the utmost. In the chapter 16 of the Lotus Sutra, the lifespan of Tathagata, the Buddha has already attained enlightenment innumerable kalpas before. From the universal Dhammakaya, he patiently took a conditioned human body as Sakyamuni Buddha in India, lived an ordinary life among his shared their joys and sorrows. He traveled on foot to propagate the Dhamma, teaching innumerable means to help people purify their minds and bodies every moment of their lives. In this way, they can end suffering, attain nirvana in the present life, and return to the permanent bliss of nirvana without remainder after death. On the path to disseminate the Dharma, the Buddha was not always welcomed with a red carpet. However, he was able to win over both those who respected him and those who opposed him. Surely it was only due to the compassion, loving kindness, altruism, and love that he could patiently teach and lead people to Nirvana, to Pure Land of the 10 directions, and to become Buddha.
In this period of degeneration of Buddha Dharma, we are very fortunate to have the opportunity to take refuge in the Triple Gem, to practice under the guidance of kind master, and to live in a time when Buddha's teaching and excel to help us and develop wisdom and our families to live harmonies and joy.
I vow to be more assiduous in studying and practicing the Buddha Dharma in order to be worthy of the blessings and protection bestowed by Sakyamuni Buddha, the Bodhisattva, and the masters who teach us. I wish all daughters of the Buddhas will have enough courage to overcome obstacles of being women, to develop their potentials as women, to develop wisdom and mindfulness, compassion. Last but not least, I wish you all great success. Nam Mô Sakyamuni Buddha.
Điều phối quốc tế thảo luận thì quý vị muốn thảo luận nhóm tại đây.
Nguyện đem công đức này hướng về khắp tất cả đệ tử và chúng sanh đều trọn thành Phật đạo.
Dạ, Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật. Con xin thông báo lại chiều nay cái group mà Chinese á, cô thông báo phòng ở trên dãy lầu 3. Phòng luận nhóm về tiếng Hoa lên lầu 3. Cái nó có một cái phòng lớn, nó của Chinese group. Nãy cô báo là August room á. Dạ, A Di Đà Phật.
been built. In 1972, the Bhikkhuni Sangha of the Mahayana tradition has been formed. This is the Mahayana tradition. Ni trưởng Như Thanh, which is Bhikkhuni Như Thanh, was sitting in the center. That is her pictures. Many nuns has been degraded, even though that they received the Bhikkhuni's ordination. However, with her action, with her compassion, the Bhikkhuni orders. And from that, the Bhikkhuni's order in Vietnam has been developed since. She is the first person that contributed a lot in the south of Vietnam. Thank you very much for the attention. Thank you very much. I would like.
Chính là ni trưởng Mahabasa Bà Đề. Là gì? Người nuôi dưỡng Đức Phật khi Ngài chưa xuất gia. Câu chuyện Di Mẫu xuất gia được trở thành người thì nó đã đi kèm với bát kính Pháp. Cùng qua câu chuyện này chúng ta thấy nhân cách mạnh mẽ của Di Mẫu xứng đáng là một người lãnh đạo như giới. Can you hear? If you cannot see on the presentation, you can see on the screen. You cannot hear me? No English. Oh, no English translation? You can see on the screen, it is my presentation in English, and I should speak in Vietnamese.
Excuse me, the foreign participants, can you hear me now in the headset?
Now, can you hear? Okay, I will continue in Vietnamese. Một phần ngày nay ơn chí nỗ lực kiên trì của bạn.
Không, em nhìn trong đây. Có trong đây rồi. Hồi nãy dặn cái câu ông Thanh rồi nhưng mà câu
I'm sorry because of the technical.
So, if I should speak in English, many Vietnamese will not understand that.
Okay. But there's no interpretation in English or Chinese.
Dạ.
Vâng. Thật tốt đẹp. Ngày nay họ sống đời sống tu hành trong đạo Phật đều cảm thấy
Họ đang chỉnh. Họ đang chỉnh. Không, họ đang chỉnh.
Very strange. Lecture said they didn't understand and asked me that we are dealing with this is international, so we have to control the flow up here. Even introducing the speakers, they should let me do it. She was introducing everything, and then they said, "Oh, they have done it in."
As for the qualities of which you may know, these qualities is to dispassion, not to passion, to be in unfettered, not to be infected, to shedding, not to accumulating, to modesty, not to self-aggrandizement, to contentment, not to discontent, to seclusion, not to entanglement, to arouse persistence, not to laziness. To be in unburdensome, not to be in burdensome. You may definitely hold this is a Dharma, this is a Vinaya, this is a teacher's instruction. At her final passing away into Nibbana, the Buddha, in order to dispel the wrong belief that women can't attain the highest spiritual potential, asked her to display many supernormal powers. Mahapajapati Gotami, together with her 500 Arahant Bhikkhunis, rose in the air and then performed a feast of various miracles. Then, contemplating on the fire element, they self-cremated in the air. Venerable Khema, the foremost nun in wisdom, a parallel of Venerable Sariputta. Descending from a royal household, she was a very proud woman because of her beauty and status. She was strict to Bamboo Grove, where the Buddha was preaching Dharma. Reading her mind, the Buddha addressed her in verse. Khema was established in an unshakable faith in the Buddha's teaching. Khema, behold this mass of elements, diseased, impure, decaying, trickling all over and oozing. It is desired only by forms. Her deeper understanding of the truth. Those enslaved by lust drift down the stream as a spider glides on its self-spun web. Having cut off even this, the wise wander, indifferent to the pleasures they were renounced. Just with that, Queen Khema attained arahantship on the spot. Now, royal pleasures and power of beauty had no appeal to her mind. Venerable Uppalavana, physical beauty versus spiritual power. Seeing her meditating alone in the forest, Mara appeared as a young man and said, having gone to a sala tree with flowering top, you stand at its foot on a lone bhikkhuni. There is none whose beauty can rival your own. Foolish girl, have you no fear of rules? Even alone, Mara, I don't fear you. Our heroine was a brave nun. She replied him thus, I am the master of my own mind. The bases of power are well developed. I am freed from every kind of bondage. Therefore, I don't fear you, the evil one. The foremost female disciple in psychic powers. Venerable Upalavanna was keen on seclusion and deep mental absorption. Many stories and incidents related to her in Vinaya, Count, and the Trigatha's commentary reveal her extraordinary psychic powers. The Buddha declared her to be his foremost female disciples in this field, a parallel of Venerable Mahamoggallana. Venerable Dhammadinna, the foremost nun in preaching Dhamma. The most significant fact in her story is that she had everything in worldly life that people call a happy marriage, wealth, relatives, fame, etc. But she chose to renounce the world by a right motive, and with proper effort, she reached her goal in a short time. In the Majjhima Nikaya, we find a very profound and highly elucidating discourse given by Venerable Dhammadinna to a practitioner of the Buddhist path named Visakha, who was a non-returner, her former husband, a treasurer of King Bimbisara in Rajagaha. At the end of the discourse, the Buddha himself commented that if someone were to ask him these questions, he would answer just the same. Bhikkhuni Dhammadinna did. Venerable Bhattacharya Dhamma are medicine. Here is a story of a desperate widow became an effective nun in helping distressed women. We have heard about the top-class people who have had it from light to light. How about people who were less fortunate in their life, who were benefited from Buddha's teaching and were able to overcome their difficulties? Built by ignorance and bound by passions is the endless journey in samsara. She was a passionate girl who ran away with her lover to escape an arranged marriage. It ended up in tragedy. She lost her husband and 2 young sons. She returned home, but her parents and her only brother had died in an accident. She went mad. Here is a story of a desperate widow became an effective nun in helping distressed women. We have heard about the top-class people who had had it from light to light. How about people who were less fortunate in their life, who would benefit from Buddha's teachings and were able to overcome their difficulties?
Doesn't know what she is. Once they depart from the script, they get completely confused. Thank you, Venerable Dhammananda. Here we are to confuse you. Here we are on this panel. You have actually 2 Dhammanandas. The first one speaking just finished her talk is Dhammananda Vietnam, and I am the moderator or facilitator of this afternoon, Dhammananda from Thailand. So I hope you are not confused, the older one and the younger one. This afternoon we have 5 papers. We are focusing on
của nữ giới về đề tài
những phụ nữ lỗi lạc trong thời kỳ đầu lịch sử Phật giáo. Và bài tiếp theo là của diễn giả Roseanne Fries và đề tài của cô là tịnh kiểm và an.
Namo Adida Phật. Venerable brothers and sisters in the Dharma, it is a real honor to be here. The First Nuns of China, Lessons for the 21st Century. In 357,
21 Năm 357,
Jing Jian went forth and became the first woman in East Asia to take the Bhikshuni precepts. She, in turn, presented those vows to her disciple, Anling Shou. Together, she, in turn, presented these vows to her disciple, Anling Shou. Together, these women would face two major challenges. The first came from the monastic Sangha, who doubted the authenticity of their ordinations. And the second came from the Confucian morals, which saw the women as abandoning their families and society. In essence, Jing Jian and Anling Shou had to establish their legitimacy inside and outside of the Sangha. Buddhist nuns and lay women are facing similar challenges. The focus of this paper is to examine that experience of these two nuns and to identify useful approaches for meeting the challenges of today's world. Please skip the next paragraph. You should be on the line that reads, "In this era of adversity." In this era of adversity, 100 years of war, the two women pursued worthy lives. Jing Jian received the 10 precepts from the Kashmiri monk Zhishan when she was in her 20s or 30s, and then founded the Bamboo Forest Monastery in Luoyang, China's first historically identified women's monastery. Later, she took the full precepts from the monk Dharmagupta Tamajedo, and along with Bhiksu Buddha Singha, she ordained her disciple Anling Shou. Anling Shou moved to Luoyang, from Luoyang to Yecheng, and in 353, when the new Zhao dynasty was established. Anling Shou was well supported by the monk Buddha Singha, and with him, or on her own rather, she founded 5 or 6 temples during the latter part of the 4th century, and she had more than 200 disciples. In 333, however, a major change of fortune came to the Buddhist Sangha of China. Buddha Singha, a robust and tireless man, was especially renowned as a siddhi, one who could see past lives and foretell the future. In the 4th month of that year, Buddha Singha learned that his temple bell had sounded, but there was no wind. And from this he prophesied, "The country shall suffer a great loss. Do not go forth." In the 7th month, the emperor himself passed away. However, his predecessor Shihu overthrew the next emperor and declared himself emperor. In 335, Shihu became the first emperor in Chinese history to proclaim that all should revere the Sangha, and in particular, he honored the monk Buddha Singha. At the same time, this Buddha Singha, who was the mentor of Jing Jian, helped to found 893 temples and monasteries. This number has been unsurpassed anywhere in Chinese history. The order of Jing Jian had conflicting views. During this era, a laywoman in her early 20s, Jing Jian had learned from her master, the Biksu Fa Shi, that monks and nuns had different precepts. This surprised her. Unfortunately, in China, there was no text available. She then turned to the monk, Zhishan, and from him, she just led 24 others to take the 10 precepts. Sometime between 345 and 352, another bhikshu, Sung Jian, brought from Scythia copies of the Karmavakana, the Ni Jie, and the Moksha of the Mahasangikas, the Sangzhi Jiemo. But however, it was not until 357 that a translation of these two works became available. Inspired that they now had the text, Dhammakata, yet another monk, decided to build a platform in order to give higher ordination or full ordination to Jing Jian and 3 other nuns. Although Jing Jian was over 60, she did not hesitate to receive the ordination. Ironically, it was one of her own countrymen, a Chinese monk named Dao Chang, who tried to delay her ordination. Dao Chang claimed that it was inappropriate to conduct a bhikshuni ordination because there was no assembly of nuns to confer the precepts. On one hand, his argument was not entirely without merit. A century earlier, sometime between 249 and 252, an Indian Theravadan monk named Dharmakala, otherwise known as Tanga Gyale, was not pleased with the state of Buddhism in the city of Loyang and wrote, "The Sangha there does not practice its religion in accord with a systematic set of rules, as does its Orthodox Indian counterpart. The only thing that distinguishes its members from the laity is their shaved heads. They do not maintain the discipline that distinguishes the clergy from the laity. Although they observe penance and fasts, they do not abide by the same code of conduct as in India, but content themselves with an imitation of the sacrificial rituals observed in Chinese ancestral tombs. Seen through the eyes of this Indian monk, this is a rather shoddy spectacle." Those comments were regarding the Bhiksu Sangha as well as the Bhikshuni Sangha. The Indian monks' honest but bitter comments omit the fact that the Chinese were aware of the problem and were struggling to correct them. In fact, as early as the Han Dynasty, which spans from 25 to 220 in the Common Era, the Moksha precepts for Shramanerikas, otherwise known as the Shamini Nejing, was translated into Chinese in the city of Chang'an, 200 miles west of Loyang. And in 252, the Bhikshu Sanghavarman had translated the Karmavakana of the Dharmaguptaka school, but unfortunately later this translation was lost. In 266, a monk named Dharmaraksha, who is famously known as Zhu Fa Hu, translated the Bhikshuni Pratimoksha precepts, the Bhichoni Jie, but again, after much effort, this work was lost. Nevertheless, it was noted later that in Loyang, during the Western Jin dynasty, between 280 and 320, there were still 3,700 nuns living in 180 temples. So, going back to Dao Chang's allegation that the ordinations were taking place without the presence of female acharyas, preceptors, and witnesses was technically or factually true. However, his assertion belied the widespread efforts throughout China to acquire proper texts and acquire proper teachers. Perhaps it was due to an awareness of these efforts that the Sangha of Loyang decided not to accept Dao Chang's objections. And thus, the one monk, Dao Chang, withdrew, and Dhammakarta went on to ordain Jingjian and 3 other women. Let me go now, because of the shortness of time. Let us go to the section that says learning from history. I wish I could have gone more into Anling Shou's experience, because she came from a Confucian family, and originally Confucians would not accept Buddhism. But finally, her family saw that praying for the welfare of the family and praying for the clan and praying for the welfare of the nation was good for all, that Buddhism did not challenge Confucianism, but respected it and honored it, and also showed that women could lead worthy lives without marriage, without children, without family, that they could come forth and be of service to all living beings. Yeah. There are some other key points, and I'm sorry for the interpreter, but I think it may be easier to speak extemporaneously. The first key point, that Buddhism in China began with many omens and rainbows and mystical incense and flowers, escort by tigers, all sorts of sacred things happening to predict wonderful outcomes. But these women were real, and their lineage continues today, even here in Vietnam. So it is important to deal with real human beings rather than just omens and prophecy. The second lesson was that Jingjian and Anling Shou did not work alone. They had friends, they had mentors. They befriended foreign monks and Chinese monks. They built temples and they did works of compassion. And the last lesson is document what you do. We are not invisible. We are 2,000, we are 2 million, and hopefully we will be 2 billion. Thank you.
Thank you, Roseanne. In fact, many of you would like to speak to Roseanne. I would like to introduce, I did not give you more details about my speaker. She is on page 226. She is historian and economist in United States government in Washington, D.C. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Asian Studies from the University of California at Berkeley in 1981, and then pursued advanced studies in Chinese philosophy at National Taiwan University. In 1986, she received a master's degree in International Relations and Trade at John Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. She has done extensive research in Buddhist history and biography, and has a long-standing interest in tracing the history of the Pictionary lineage in China. We meet her at various international conferences on Buddhism, on women. Now, our fourth fourth speaker. Our fourth speaker, I could not find her biography, but her name is Thich Nhat Hanh. She will be speaking on Buddhist women in early Vietnamese history.
Good afternoon. First, I would like to pay my homage to the Buddhist Bhikkhuni Sangha, President of the conference on the delegate. My conference theme is Buddhist women in early Vietnamese history. When we speak about Buddhist women during the early year, first to 19th century of Vietnamese history, heroines such as the woman general during the reign of the Trương sister and Buddhist nun in the Lý Trần, later Lê and Nguyễn dynasty immediately come by. Buddhist woman general during the reign of the Trương sister before the domination of Han ruler. Vietnam belonged to matriarchy. That's why early in history of Vietnam, the Trương sister raised an army against the Han ruler. The sister only more than 70 generals and commanders, including some women leaders. It is said that in the year 40, the sister set up a state with men at the capital and named themselves Win. According to legend, they committed suicide when they were defeated in battle by Ma Việt in 43 CE. In general, at that time, Buddhist women either came to pagoda or were ready to go into battle. In this paper, I will mention a few famous figures as example. Princess Bat Nan. She joined up with the Trương sister at the village of Tiên La, Hưng Hà district, Thái Bình province. When the Trương sister became queen, they made Bat Nan a royal princess. The princess refused to assume position of power and instead went to a temple in the village of Tiên La in Hưng Hà district, Thái Bình province. When the princess was defeated by Ma Việt, she suicided on 16th day of the third lunar month in the year 43. A shrine to commemorate her were erected and traditional ceremony in her memory is organized every year. Now we will come to the Buddhist nun in the Lý Trần, later Lê and Nguyễn dynasty. A Vietnamese proverb say, after a rain, there is bright, and at the end of the night come the day. According to the year domination by Chinese ruler, the people of Vietnam regained their freedom. People always recall this achievement and hence are aware of the need to build and safeguard the country. There were many eminent bhikkhuni who lived during the dynasty. Here I would like to mention just a few of them. We know that the Lý Trần dynasty from 11th to 14th century were the golden age. So we have some bhikkhuni like Diệu Nhân. She was the daughter of King Phụng Càng. She married the Mandarin Lê Chân Đăng when her husband died the year later. She left the household life and became a papaya. She's not only the most eminent nun in Vietnamese Chan Buddhism, but also the most eminent nun in the history of the country. Living in the especially in any dynasty, we have to accept its aspect of life, just like guilt, blame, fame, happiness and sorrow. That is the two parts of a life in general phase. They are also the essential for the progress of life. So during this time, I mean the later Lê dynasty, the Confucianism was stronger than Buddhism. We have some eminent Buddhist women such as Venerable Diệu Đăng, etc. She's the person who likes to serve others. Her life is special in do social work. So come to the Nguyen dynasty. We have most Venerable Yin Trường or Venerable Diệu Không, etc. Her life due to build Buddhist school for nuns. They were the first nun of the Buddhist Sangha in the center of the country, etc. In brief, following the Buddhist woman's footsteps during the early year, we can conclude that first, the faith of the country is linked to the faith of the religion. It means when the country is prosperous, Buddhism will exist and vice versa. The second, the love in Brahma Vihara, the metta, the love of the country or the love of the motherland is often connected to the love of fellow citizens. It is the anatta attitude. The third one, when we learn about the Buddha Dhamma, we know that we have to go to the righteous path safely in order to live a harmless life. And we enjoy a healthy spirit and the life. We call Buddhist women, or we call them eminent women because they have Sangha, the four essential principles of social life. They are ready to give up their comfortable life or the life of princess. They are ready die for the needs of the country, like go to the battle. The second, Piyavacha, it means kindly spirit because they want to bring happiness to others. And the third one, Attachariya, means live or work for the welfare of the many. And the fourth, Samanattata, it means they treat and behave themselves properly in all circumstances. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Thich No Tin Wan. You are just on the spot and actually provide extra minutes for the next speaker. The last speaker is Krishna Raksa Chom. She is on page 229. Krishna Raksa Chom is a Machi white robe nun in Thailand. She just got her PhD last year. She is not here today, but Machi Sisalap is going to read her paper, at least part of the paper. So I would like to invite Machi Sisalap to please read a paper on the origin of Bhikkhunis in Thailand.
Respected Venerable Bhikkhunis and all nuns, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to apologize to all of you because as you know that Machi Krishna is the popular one in Thailand. She finished the highest grade of Pali and the highest grade of Abhidhamma, and now she finished PhD. She's going to be a prominent teacher in Chulalongkorn Buddhist universities, and then, it's nothing to mention. And then I'm going to read the papers for her. Behalf of her, she give the name of topic origin of Bhikkhunis in Thailand, and she mentioned about Vinayas text Samanta Pasadika Attakatha. Actually, Thai nuns is not have time to study Vinaya so much because that nuns and lay women should not study Vinaya because nuns do not have to study. Don't have to study. And then we study Dharma like 5 precepts and 8 precepts and what it kind of Dharma with the pair of 5 precepts or 8 precepts like that. And now I'm going to read the paper of Mechi Krishna รักษาโฉมนะ please listen if it's not correct or perfect speech please forgive me the Vinaya text Samananta Pasatika Atakatha records that 2 senior monks Sonathera Bhikkhu and Uttarathera Bhikkhu traveled to the region of Suvarnabhumi and saw Dhamma such that the people there gained confidence in the triple gem and took the 5 precepts. The text mentions that 3,500 Buddhist boys and 1,500 women became ordained and 630 people achieved enlightenment. The question is, where is Suvarnabhumi? From the following sources, we can conclude that Suvarnabhumi is in Thailand. The newspaper Thailand mentions a book titled Suvarnabhumi is here in the land of Siam. This says that the center of Suvarnabhumi is located at the Tajin River in Thailand. The Samananta Satika Atakatha tells us that Sonathera Bhikkhu and Uttarathera Bhikkhu came to Thailand and gave ordination to 1,500 women. But it is not clear that what ordination the 2 monks gave. It first says that the Buddha for Vajika Bhikkhuni's ordination, the Atha Vajika Bhikkhuni ordination is Bhikkhuni ordination ceremony conducted by the group of senior bhikkhus. Together with a group of it is likely that the first 1,500 women were ordained as seminaries, novice with the 10 precepts. The seminaries ordination can only be performed by bhikkhunis. However, the 2 senior monks, Sona and Uttara, presumably asked bhikkhunis from Pataliputra to give the Sona Uttara to give seminary ordination to the 1,500 women, but the Samananta Pasatika Atakatha does not record this story in as much detail as the story of Mahintathera and Sankamita Theri, who took the Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis ordination to Sri Lanka in the 4th century, before the Common Era. The seminaries who were ordained in Suvarnabhumi probably received their Bhikkhuni ordination later. When they reached the required age for full ordination, 20, no other evidence is available to confirm this fact. However, please go to page 3. From the documents and research of interview with the Buddhist monastics and lay people in Chiang Mai and Lamphun, no evidence had been found in support of the idea that bhikkhunis actually live in this temple. Apparently, according to Prosper Ratana Suchit, the bhikkhuni chapel were symbolic, constructed simply to commemorate the bhikkhunis who lived during the time of the Buddha. On the basis of interviews with people in Chiang Mai, he contends that these chapels were constructed to symbolize symbolically await the bhikkhunis who will appear during in the time of Maitreya Buddhas. When Maitreya Buddha comes to the world to teach the Dhamma, those men and women who wish to become bhikkhus and bhikkhunis will be able to get ordination without delay. The chapels that have already been contracted will be ready for them to practice the Dhamma and follow in his footsteps to attain enlightenment. Please turn to page 4. As mentioned, the Samanta Pasatika Atakatha state that Theravada bhikkhuni in Thailand at one time, there is no clear historical evidence. However, bhikkhunis ever did live there. They seem to have vanished from the historical records. There is clear evidence of bhikkhunis chapel that were constructed to commemorate the bhikkhunis who lived during the Buddha time. According to Peter Killing, the accounts of the Chinese monks pilgrim Yi Jing mentioned the existence of bhikkhunis in the southern part of Thailand during the Sivichai dynasty. Since Mahayana Buddhism flourished during the Sivichai dynasty, it is possible that the bhikkhunis that Yi Jing mentions in his accounts were Mahayana bhikkhunis. In recent years, some Thai women have traveled to Sri Lanka to receive bhikkhuni ordination and then return to Thailand. A bhikkhuni's name Yani, the abbess of the Nirotharam Meditation Center, who is responsible for teaching meditation to interested Buddhists, reports that at present there are 5 groups of bhikkhunis in the country. In Nakhon Pathom province, Chiang Mai province, Rayong province, Yasothon province, and Samut Sakhon province, the state's fastest development of bhikkhunis had been in Chiang Mai province, and the bhikkhunis living in Chiang Mai have been Buddhist nuns for many years and have established their own school called Nirotharam Meditation Center. Nantayani confirmed that 5 of these nuns went to Sri Lanka to receive Bhikkhuni ordination in 2008. There are currently 5 Bhikkhunis and 20 seminaries at Nirotharam. It's not finished yet. Can I read on? No. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Kun Sisalap. Actually, there are 2 points for Westerners coming to Thailand interested to see pieces of information about the Bhikkhunis. One is on the wall of the reclining Buddha. You have all the 13 Arahat-theris, very beautiful. The second one is 53 Bhikkhunis casted by King Rama III. And that is in Wat Tape2. So I'm sure some of you are passing through Vietnam, and Thailand is very near. And you may like to see the Bhikkhunis in the past. But Bhikkhunis walking on the street, now we are becoming more and more. I would say that right now we have not less than 18 fully ordained Bhikkhunis. And about 4 seminaries. And in my temple, we give order to seminary. This year, 80 seminaries. So we are following the footsteps of our Vietnamese Bhikkhu. We are being pressed with time. I would like to thank our speakers, all our 5 speakers. And now I hand the
Nam mô Bổn sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Kính bạch quý ni trưởng chứng minh, kính bạch chư tôn thiền đức ni. Kính thưa quý đại biểu, xuyên suốt mấy tiếng đồng hồ qua chúng ta đã lắng nghe được 5 đề tài của 5 vị đại diện cho 5 nước đã đọc về đề tài của mình. Và trong đề tài đó thì hôm nay có lẽ niềm hoan hỷ nhất cho toàn thể đại biểu là chúng ta bảo đảm được thời gian. Và đúng 15 giờ 15 phút thì nhóm thảo luận chương trình thảo luận